Hello and welcome back. As you can see, I'm outdoors once again, and this time I can truly say I'm in the heart of nature. I'm up a mountain. It's not a very large mountain. If you're comparing one mountain to another, it's about 855 meters approximately. Those numbers are a little bit wrong, but 800 and something. And I can truly recognize and see and say to you here that the feeling that my body is reflecting from the surroundings is very, very, very quiet. Very, very, very peaceful. One can see why some people decide to never come back from a place like this. We forget, though, that this is only a reflection. Oftentimes people will look to escape their lives because they feel as though their lives are too difficult. And when they come to a place like this, which reflects such silence and so much less mind pollution, they forget that it's just a reflection of this place. And if you return back into the city, hustle and bustle, then where's that peace then? In a sense, when you come to a place like this and you feel as though where you come from is not peaceful, and that's not what you want, but when you're here, this is what you want, then a sense of resentment might arise in you towards the place you come from, towards the city, towards all that mind pollution. That resentment might seep down into your bones, your very being. And I don't mean your essence being, but deeply, to a point where when you return to the city, the fight that you see there might be the fight that you brought there. A place like this is a good reflection and, if you will, kind of a map to an inner reality that is available to you at all times, really. You're always able to be peaceful, but it's the mind pollution and the story that is repeated over and over in your mind and how you feel about it, your beliefs. That's the real pollution. That's the real noise. That then becomes the real problem. Again, the problem you carry with you. A place like this only enables you to give yourself permission. You say to yourself, I'm not in city or in town anymore. Here I can relax. And in this simple permission that you give yourself, the mind quiets a little bit. And there's also this whole aspect of, if you haven't been here before or often, then there's a sense of wonder, a little sense of innocence maybe that arises in you when you're in these kinds of places. And instead of looking at this place as dominantly through the filter of the story in your mind, I want to do this, I want to do that, or look at that tree and all these labels, for these moments, maybe a second or two or more, you may find yourself just looking. And the state of just looking to the outworld is also the same state of just looking that a person can do in meditation. I was going to say meditativeness. When you're looking inwards, this state of just looking. So when I say a place like this can be a map, that's what I mean. It's got a marker. It has this marker that if you're here and you're aware of those spaces where your mind just and you're just looking, then you can cultivate that within yourself, looking within yourself. You can cultivate that experience for you when you're in the city, among all the noise pollution, the light pollution, maybe the smell pollution, I don't know. Some cities stink from sometimes, or one time or another, or I can't even speak. If you live in a big city, you know what I mean. So the lesson of my videos tend to be very centered around how to find inner peace. Because it is the ultimate goal of also finding who you are. It's basically next door to who you are, that state of peace. This is why I point to this so often in videos. When you're in a state where you feel peaceful, to recognize He who watches the peace, He who recognizes the peace, the aspect in you that is just simply looking, seems a bit easier. And there are other methods. I've found repeating a mantra quite effective to having me recognize the watcher, as they call it in mysticism. Different gurus you might have heard, the watcher. Reading Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, he recommends bringing your awareness into the inner body. Find the aliveness in yourself, in your body. Not the body itself, but the energy body, if you will. And that again can be a good practice. But when you're in a state of just looking, again, it's pretty much just next door to the watcher of who you are. So places like this can give you a really good map to help find your spirit, your essence, the you that you are that's not physical and at the same time is physical. The paradox, right? These places have a story of their own. And here's another key. These places have a story of their own. And the language that they speak, you can hear this language and you understand this language. The problem is, you spent the majority of your life trying to understand your word or your world with words. So the label, that's a tree, that's a sky. What does this mean? Linking everything together using your limited view of language, the limitations of language. And you may have heard that only approximately 5% of what a human being picks up when they speak to you or when you speak to them is the language and what you say, and the rest is nonverbal. There's this aspect of us that we feel is less important than the words we use to describe our world. When just that simple statistic I mentioned gives you the key right there. It's not as much what you think about everything, but when you're listening to the forest, it's more subtle. It comes to you through the body. The body reflects, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it reflects the energy here. If you will, these trees, the grass, all these animals that are here, the insects, this very environment that I'm standing in is a sort of song that is not heard through the ears or seen through the eyes, but an energy, a vibration, frequency. As Nikola Tesla mentioned, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and something else he said, you can look it up. And that again is a great key related to the key I'm explaining to you now. And these keys, I can't just give it to you and you have it. The way a person needs to understand these types of keys is, I need to dismantle your mind first. And the more you listen, the more there may be permissions for you to, okay. And then you start to feel this sense of more quiet, where you can not understand what I'm saying through the words I'm saying, but get a feeling of it as the mind quiets. So the song that this place is naturally singing can be felt through the body as the body mirrors the energy here. And this can be picked up by you in a very subtle way. Ooh, get. I don't want to be stung. Speaking of subtle, that wasn't very subtle. Hello. And that's the problem. When it comes to learning to find who you are, the mind is so much noisier than the subtleties of the body's reflection of energy around you, within you. And the language of intuition, which I'm speaking about right now, takes patience. And it takes you giving your mind permission to say, you are not useful to me right now. I'm not using words. The way you understand the world is not going to help me. There's my friend. The way that you understand the world in normal ways, that normal life is not going to help me right now. And what I need is to just listen to the energy and the frequency in this area directly through the mirror of the body. And these are subtle channels that open up to you and are constantly there. It's the same place that you find that peace that I talk about often, that's always there as well. So I'll leave you with that. Wherever you are around the world, whatever time it is that you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Peace.